Welcome. I am so excited to be here with you. This is the first time I'm doing a YouTube live. So if you are here, say hello in the chat. I think I can see who is here. So today I have a discussion sharing with you about mentorship as calibration. So I'm just pulling up my notes here. This transmission came through today in such a large chunk of information. And I wanted a proper time to discuss this instead of just sharing it as a post or as a short video. So for those of you who may be watching who are new to me or new to experiencing any of my talks or classes, my name is Ashley Seymour, and I am the creator of Divine Mission Alchemy, which is a space where women step into to fully rise into their divine mission for this life, to meet their edges of limitation, to break through those walls of limitation and actually be the clear channel through which the divine can birth through them, be a clear channel through which their divine desires can manifest upon earth, can fully create this vision and blueprint of light upon earth. So within that work, I'm guiding women to connect into their soul gifts, understand what their gifts are, not just in this lifetime, but the gifts that they are connecting to across lifetimes, reclaiming that wisdom from beyond just this life and carrying it forward with conviction and strength in this life. And I'm also working with women to, one of the most important things is actually understanding what it means to be sovereign. And this thread of sovereignty is one of the most important things I work with women on, because when we are self-resourced from within, we're creating our life from a very powerful place, a divine place, aligned, authentic, in our full creative potential and power. And that is where we want to be as priestesses, as healers, as wisdom keepers, as medicine women, oracles, channels for the earth, because we are this bridge. And again, it's not because anyone's more special or not. There are certain desires that people have on earth, and the women I work with have a desire to actually usher in a higher potential on the earth. We actually exist in a desire to create harmony and peace and love, connection, spiritual attunement, development of our psychic awareness, merging of the physical with the spiritual world. Like, these are just some of the desires of the women that I work with. So within that context, these women actually desire to be the clearest channel possible for the holy and divine templates of actual love to birth on earth. And that comes through first embodiment of the wisdom codes that they are unlocking, living it, breathing it, knowing it, having something be a felt truth. And this is why sovereignty is so important, because it's about developing an inner truth that becomes indisputable within literally the cells of your being, that you now exist in that up-leveled consciousness. You exist in that new frequency. And when we exist and embody a truth, a spiritual truth, it lives on within us, and then it can radiate into the world, onto the earth. So this is what I wanted to talk about with mentorship as calibration today. And again, if you are here, say hello in the comments. This is my first time doing a live on YouTube, and I'm very excited to be here. And I think I'm going to be doing more of this. So mentorship is calibration. I've been leading mentorship spaces now for the last 6 years, and I specifically use the word mentorship. It's not programs, it's not exactly coaching. Some of the work I do are trainings, like my High Alchemies of the Priestess training is both a year-long mentorship and training. My Reiki trainings, it's a little bit different of an energy, where you are actually studying something to be able to bring that information, wisdom forward to others as well. So some of the things I do have more of a training aspect to it. But most of my containers, my private spaces, include healing, deep spiritual healing with Reiki, intuitive readings, and mentorship. Now, again, I use words very intentionally, and I want to share with you what mentorship means. When I say mentorship is calibration, it's because mentorship spaces are where you are not just learning information, again, which is different than like just trying to acquire information. When you work with me in my spaces, it's not just about acquiring information. It's about actual initiation. And initiation takes place when there's alchemy happening, when there's some level of true transformation. And I'm not just talking about mental transformation, ideas of transformation, but you actually see, feel, and know yourself to be more in alignment with who you really are than the limiting aspects of you. True alchemy is transforming something from one form into another. And in mentorship, it's creating the space where you're calibrating to a new potential. And when you exist in that light and in that potential, you awaken that truth within you. So mentorship is not just about learning information. It's about stepping into a field of actual potentiality. When you're in mentorship, like true mentorship with somebody, you attune to someone else's belief codes. And we're attuning to other people's belief codes all the time. Who you're listening to, who you surround yourself by, who you talk with, the conversations you have, you are picking up and attuning to people's belief codes all day, every day. You can't, mostly you're attuning to yours. You're repeating your own belief codes over and over unless you're consciously transforming them. And so that becomes then the question of what belief codes are we attuning to? What rooms are we placing ourselves in? What spaces are we stepping into? What conversations are we having? What are we tuning into, reading, absorbing? Because that is going to affect our own belief codes. So when you're in mentorship with someone, there is a attunement that takes place where you attune to that person's belief codes, not to become that someone, not to become them at all, but it's to remind you of what your potential is. Okay, so when you feel called or gravitated or inspired by someone, and when you feel called to work with certain mentors, right, it's because you want to unlock a specific code within you, and your inner knowing guides you to that correct space, person, or people that create a field of coherence where you attune to that potential. So again, there's this part of you that's saying, that feeling that nudge, that higher self, that authentic part of you that's desiring to expand, to break free from certain constructs, belief structures that are actually keeping you limited and small. And you'll be guided to tap into energy fields, coherence fields, where there is a new potential possible. And when you meet that person or enter those spaces, or into experiences where you feel this sense of potential and possibility, it's because someone in that space has actually anchored in that field of potential, has anchored in that field of possibility, has anchored in that belief. And so when you attune to it, something within your system, your soul, your body says, this is possible. I can do this too. And that's when the alchemy starts to take place. That other person's belief code starts to then become your own. So this is where, when you enter into mentorship, you restructure your belief system and create a reality that's more in alignment with your truth. Again, that's the essential thing with a mentor. It's not becoming someone other than you are. It is becoming exactly who you are. And there's certain periods of your life where attuning to different fields of consciousness help you reclaim your parts of you that you've forgotten. There's already certain belief codes that you have unlocked for yourself. You've awakened, you've mastered. There's a truth that's a truth for you that wasn't a truth for you maybe a decade ago, but you've remembered something. Something clicked and you see the world differently. Well, this is what it's like entering into field when you feel called to work with a mentor. It's that deeper soul calling that they hold a certain belief code, a frequency field, and a consciousness that when you enter into that space, that already nudge within you that wants to awaken that same truth enters into an environment where it starts to feel like it's more possible. And as you enter into that space, you begin to really transform yourself. You step into actual initiation. You initiate yourself from where you were, an aspect of limitation, to your next level of expansion. Okay, so this is in mentorship spaces. This is what we're doing together, is whatever the limitation is, that wall of limitation, when you step into the mentorship spaces, depending on the mentorship space that feels most in alignment to you, and also just with and I'm going to share some examples about this so it becomes a little bit more embodied very soon. But when you enter into those spaces, a certain mentorship, or connect with a specific mentor, that belief code infuses into your own system and you unlock. It's like you kind of wake up. It's like a veil has been removed from your inner eyesight and you just remember who you really are. Okay. So when you restructure your belief system, you're going to create a reality that is more in alignment with your truth. So again, it's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you really are. Mentorship is not about codependency. It is about actual sovereignty. Okay, so I was just recently actually speaking with a woman in my High Alchemies of the Priestess mentorship and training. And we're talking about our spiritual guides. And one of my clients asked me to explain what my inner experience was when I call in my guides. And if I've ever, had days where they feel different. And so I talk about guides. I work very deeply with my Ascended Master guides. And Ascended Master guides are basically souls that had a life and a incarnation on earth, mastered themselves, self-realized themselves, stepped out of the illusion of separation while in the human form. And they exist in the spiritual realm, still supporting individuals souls to ascend, the same process that they went through. Then we also have angelic guides. They exist in the spiritual realm as well. Angels are different than Ascended Masters because they have not taken actual human form. They are angels, but they are also supporting us in our spiritual evolution and growth. There's many other different spiritual guides and beings we can connect with as well. But nevertheless, she asked about what my experience was with them and if I had days where I doubted that connection. And in that conversation, something I shared with her is that I have anchored so deeply in my field, like without a doubt, that my guides are always present, that they're always here. I can feel them, I sense them. I'm never alone. We're never alone. Actually, your guides are always with you too. And this level of conviction has come from many different years of experiences and psychic development and just working with my guides daily. But there is absolutely no doubt in my body that there are spiritual guides supporting us, that my guides are here, that it's not about worthiness, it's not about being good enough. It's that they want the same thing we want on the soul level, which is communion with God, which is absolute reuniting with who we really are. And they want what we want in the sense that our divine desires get to be birthed on earth, that the light we desire to bring to earth, that's the support, that's in support of the highest good of all. They want that too. And so we're being so supported on the spiritual plane. And this is something that I just know to be so true. It's a code that it's a belief code that is unlocked within my body. There's a level of conviction with this belief code that is unlocked within my body. Okay. So what I noticed in High Alchemy of the Priestess, and in many of the women that I do mentorships with, in Sovereign Priestess Activation, my 6-month sovereignty, divine mission journey, in the Sacred Intuitive, my 3-month intuitive and personal and professional intuitive development course, in all these aspects where we're connecting to different guides, some of the women, this is their first time where they really understand that they have this support, they have this connection. Some of the women have felt like they've had this connection, they just didn't realize that it could be this tangible and close. And so when these women listen to the guided healing experiences, because as all of my mentorships, they come with a live class each week. And then there's practices that follow, and they're spiritually activated, guided journeys and visualizations and healing experience to really embody in the wisdom that came through. And so a lot of those experiences take you on journeys to connect with different guides, entering to higher spiritual planes. And the women share that when they're guided in this way, when they're hearing the meditation, that they just feel, it feels very tangible. They can feel their guides even more. They can feel the love from their guides. They're having conversations with their guides. And they've noticed that when they're by themselves, it doesn't feel like they have that close of a connection. And there's 2 things happening here. One, and the reason they're able to have that really deep connection when they're listening to the guided practices is, one, because they trust me. So they're able to relax into, and that's so important, is to trust the mentor that you're working with. Because if there's no trust, there's no safety, there's no growth, there's no evolution. So you have to really feel a sense of trust with who's guiding you and who you're attuning to and connecting with. So they trust me, so they're able to relax into the experience. And since they trust me, they trust in literally the conviction I hold around connection with spiritual guides. Like, there is no question, there's no doubt. Like, they're here, they're in the journey with you, they're working with you. So when they're in that space being guided, there isn't that limiting part of them getting in the way, saying, this isn't working. Maybe I'm making this up. Maybe I shouldn't trust this. Like, that doesn't get in the way. The limiting constructs do not get in the way of the actual truth, which is our guides are here, which is that we're being supported, that your guides are always with you, that your guides want your divine desires to be made manifest on earth. They are supported always. So, but then what happens is when they step away, those limiting belief structures somewhat come back in. But over time, as the women I work with stay in attunement and work in these deep mentorships together, that those belief codes that are anchored in my body, in my soul, in my knowing, about divine mission, about sovereignty, about the light of our womb, about our guides, like the things that I've really embodied, anchored in, what I'm here to bring. The women, they attune to that too. Eventually it comes a point where those belief codes are just as true for them. Okay, so that is the power that at first, when we enter into working with a specific mentor, we have certain limiting beliefs that prevent us from accessing our potential. When we stay in attunement and in connection with a specific mentor or guide, that we are in, that they have a specific belief system or belief codes that we are ready to embody, when we stay in attunement with them, we will break down our limitations and actually access the potential that we're wanting to access. And I see this over and over with the women I work with their spiritual guides, and the realization of the conversations, the initiation, the healings, the support that is literally always available to them in their life and their divine mission. So when they've attuned to my conviction around this specific thing, around guides, and I'm going to share with you different belief codes I'm going to break that women attune to me with, that literally transform their life very shortly. But when they attune to my conviction around the guides, they then expand their potential to transform their beliefs around their own felt connection to their guides. What felt distant now feels possible, and then it feels tangible. Then it's embodied, and it is a truth that is indisputable. This is the process of initiation. You sense your potential. You get called to step into spaces, to work with certain mentors, to connect with certain frequencies, energies, wisdom transmissions. As you attune to that higher potential, your limiting belief, your limitations around that truth begin to crumble, because illusion cannot withstand truth. Illusion will break down in the light of truth. And so if you can just stick with your potential, stick with your possibility long enough, the illusion will crumble. And then that possibility becomes true for you. It becomes anchored. It becomes an inner knowing, becomes so embodied. It's indisputable. That level of anchored truth is so powerful. Okay. So, mentorship is a complete recalibration to your highest potential. But as I've mentioned a little bit earlier, there is a fine line between codependency and sovereign mentorship. Okay. And I spoke about this a little bit in the beginning, that attuning to a mentor's belief codes does not mean you are becoming them, and does not mean you need them to believe something to be in your highest potential. That would be extremely debilitating for the soul and the spiritual evolution of your life. So if you believe you can only access higher potential belief codes when you are around a certain mentor, you will limit yourself and actually not access your true power. Okay. And this is why it is so important in all of the mentorships that I offer that we really focus on the most important belief code, which is sovereignty, true sovereignty of self. Breaking down the idea of codependency, but also not being completely independent to the point where you actually become so closed off to expansion, so closed off to initiation. And so the beautiful thing, when you're actually anchored in your true sovereignty, you navigate life from a place of attunement to your sense of self, but knowing where your limitations are and being guided to the places where those limitations will crumble. But there's still a sense of, I know myself. In codependent mentorship, what happens is you enter into that space, and instead of uncovering more of who you are, you become attached to the person you're mentoring with and feel like you need to become that in order to be who you really are. And that is not what my spaces are about at all. It's not about becoming me. It's about becoming more of who you are and understanding what that means for yourself. So sovereignty is really such an important core teaching, awakening your true sovereign center within. And this is why so much of my work has led us women back into our womb spaces. Because the womb space, first of all, it's our center of gravity. It is really like our center of self, where we feel an embodied connection to ourself, to our truth. Oh, hello. Hi. There's comments coming through. If you're here, say hello. I'd love to welcome you. Is this Donna? Oh, amazing. Hello. I'm just seeing that now. So, the womb portal. Just like with sovereignty, the womb is always brought forward within my mentorship spaces. Sovereign Priestess activation, we spend an entire month on the womb space. This is my 6-month mentorship. High Alchemist of the Priestess, my year-long priestess training and mentorship, we spend about 2.5 months on the womb space and the womb portal. And what has just recently come through, something that I've been feeling the pulse of just a womb specific mentorship for many years, but it was not time until now. And what I have just brought forward is the specific 2-month mentorship on the womb, complete dedication to the womb space, the recalibration to the light of your womb, and awakening the codes of sovereignty within the womb so you're actually in attunement with your full divine mission. Hi, amazing. So this mentorship, this 2-month mentorship, is called REBORN. Okay, so with REBORN, there's going to be such a powerful recalibration to many different belief codes. Okay, so you're going to be awakening this sovereign knowing within you. Now I'm going to share 6 different belief codes that are going to unlock for you with just being in the mentorship space of REBORN. Okay, just being in relationship with the belief codes I have anchored in, you're going to tap into your potential until it literally becomes truth for you. And there's an actual level of initiation that takes place. And so when you enter into REBORN, which is literally a process of rebirthing yourself alongside the birth of what you came here to do, your highest potential, the beautiful visions of love, of light, of healing you desire to bring into the earth. Those divine desires have been percolating in your heart, your soul, your body for so long. It's like, it's time, it's the year, it is now. So it's about becoming, rebirthing yourself into the woman that can actually be the transmission and channel for your sacred work on the earth, for your divine desires to be made manifest. So it's going to be such a powerful mentorship. It's 2 months. And we begin on the equinox, so the spring equinox. It's really that rebirthing, fresh spring energy, come out of the winter, the darkness, completely into your light. So there's a whole page on that. You can go to divinemissionalchemy.com/reborn, and you can find that. I'll also link that at some point once this video is complete, probably another 10-15 minutes or so. I will link that. You can also just send me a message or make a comment, and I will send you the link to this mentorship. But there's so many beautiful details about it. But what I want to share with you right now is the belief codes that you can attune to by stepping into REBORN. Okay. So the first belief code that completely anchored in is that your womb is powerful. And I know that that can feel so airy. Like, what does that even mean? How does it even relate to your life? And I'm literally not just saying this as using the words, like the womb is such a magnificent portal physically. And even if you don't have a physical womb, I'm not talking, I'm talking about women who have had their womb removed for some medical reason, because reborn is only a space for women only. It is only a space for womb holders. I really like to protect the energy in that way, that it is a space for women and womb holders. So your womb is so powerful. It literally is the encodement of the divine mother's womb. Everything in our body is created from the visioning of the divine. So we are literally an extension of God's dream. We are literally created from the visioning potential of the angels. Like we came into the form from a desire to be created. Like we are created from the angelic realm, from the spiritual realm. Everything about us has intention, is designed in the image of the divine. Like we are so divine. Every aspect of us physically is a manifestation of who we are spiritually. And what we hold in our womb is the creative power of all of life. Now, not all of our wombs are activated to this potential, but that is the potential our womb holds. Okay. Even before I birthed my 3 children, when I first started getting into teaching yoga, I'm 21, 22 years old, over a decade ago. And I started learning about the chakras, and I was so interested and consumed by the sacral chakra. I was fascinated by it. I love this energy center. And the Sanskrit name for the sacral chakra is Swadhisthana. And it means home of the sweet self, abode of the sweet self. Like it is, the womb space is where we know ourselves, where we come home to ourselves. It's where we sense ourselves, where we feel who we are so deeply, with like no one else could come home to us. No one else can know us the way we know ourselves. It is like this safety space within us. But unfortunately, for so many women, the womb is a place of disassociation, disconnection, control, trauma, fear, emotional stagnation, because there's been lineages of trauma. There's a lifetime of fear and degradation of the feminine. So the womb has not been in a fully activated state collectively for thousands of years. So when we start stepping into, as women, the desire to activate our womb of light, we are activating the light within our own womb, but also doing this for so many other women on the earth, for the divine feminine birthing on earth. So the womb is so powerful, and we can create from nothing. All of life is created. This is the potential of the magnetic power of the womb. I home birthed all of my children. My first one, I did have a midwife. And then my second, I just birthed. It's called a free birth, with no midwife or anyone around, just myself and my husband. And I also have had very long pregnancies, 42 and a half weeks, like just chilling with a very long pregnancy. And typically, in typical medical birth systems, they do not want you to go past 42 weeks. They have a lot of fear around that, which is part of the reason why I did not want to birth in any type of system, because I did not want a system telling my body what to do. So, or anyone for that matter, telling me what my body needs to do. And so these births, were so, and I have blogs about, I have all 3 blogs about my births. If you're interested in reading about any of my home births, they're all on my website at divinemissionalchemy.com. You can just scroll down to the bottom of the page. So these births were so potent because one, there's that complete surrender and trust. But two, it's like it's a freaking miracle. Like this spark of life just came through the womb, creates itself. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about the process happening. But an entire human being creates itself within my womb. And then my womb knows how to birth. Like none of my mind needed to be a part of that process. The more I let go of the mind, the more the process happened the way it needed to. Like this is the power of the womb. Sovereign womb power over mental control power is how we need to be leading our lives. Okay, so this is a first belief code. Your womb is powerful. This is what you're going to be unlocking in Reborn, this 2-month mentorship. Second belief code, okay? You have the sovereign power to create your life. So this comes down to understanding the sovereign. So sovereignty is this, I have to break down sovereignty for a moment. It is, I need some water. Sovereignty is knowing that nothing and no one can have power over you. So how could any limiting belief stop you from your true potential, from birthing your light upon earth, from being in communion with the divine? It's like the sovereign power. So sovereign power is saying I can redirect my life force energy away from that which is draining me, away from the fears, away from the limitations, away from the doubt, and actually attune yourself to the creation energy within you, to your creative potential, to your visions, to being resourced from within. So belief code 2 that we're anchoring in Reborn is that you have the sovereign power to create your life. And so we're going to work on in Reborn this very deeply embodied week-to-week journey of anchoring in higher aligned archetypal frequencies so that you can actually attune and adjust yourself to a higher potential archetype, higher potential identity than the limited identities that have been keeping you playing small. Okay. Belief code 3 is that you are unconditionally loved. The Divine Mother is always with you. This is something that, again, is a code that is so anchored within me. I spent many years before I had children just really focusing on meditation, communing with God, and building a relationship with God, and wanting to know God as deeply as possible. And eventually, at some point along that journey, my heart just opened, and I just feel, I can't even put into words, but there is a feeling of God within my heart, a feeling of unconditional love that is always there. It's like once that door opened, it's not shut. And it wasn't even like it finally opened. It's like I remembered. It's like, oh my gosh, I've returned. I've remembered in this lifetime. There is such an anchored feeling of being loved by God. And for me, I connect to God in the Divine Mother, the Holy Mother Sophia. And we are going to work with the Holy Mother, Divine Mother presence as we rebirth ourselves in this container of unconditional love. Strip down the shame, strip down the guilt, strip down the unworthiness, and actually just get to be with the Divine Mother, get to be with God. Get to know that you are held in your rebirthing process. So this is belief code 3. You are unconditionally loved. The Divine Mother is with you always. Belief code 4 is that embodied wisdom is the most important wisdom to lead your life. So what you were, something that I'm very passionate about is embodied wisdom. And if you work with me, you're going to hear this all the time. Is it embodied? And all of my mentorships are set up in a way where everything is embodied. It's not enough for me that you just get a mental stimulation. I'm not interested in just stimulating you mentally with knowledge. Not interested. I'm interested in you actually transforming your life. I'm interested in you actually being initiated. I want you to actually become more of who you really are. And that requires actual embodiment. And so women who work with me are ready to actually do the work, are actually ready to uh, transform themselves, look at the limiting aspects of themselves, go through the darkness into the light, get more in their body, because you can't be disassociated with the womb. The womb is actual about coming fully into yourself. And what happens when we've disconnected from our womb because of pain and trauma and fear and abuse and emotional stagnation, it becomes so much on a nervous system level that we disassociate and we jump out of the womb and we exist more in the mind. We start to control, we have lack of faith, we're not able to surrender. So when we come back into the womb, we have to actually start facing everything we were not able to face at another period of our life. But that's what's so powerful about mentorship, is you are held in a space where you you have the capacity to face those challenging things that you once were unable to face. You realize the strength you have to process the challenging things. And as you do that, you come back into your body, you come back into yourself, and you return to your womb, and the light of your womb activates, awaken. You return to the divine encodement of the womb, and you feel your power, you feel the sovereignty. You feel the ability to choose a different thought pattern, choose love over fear, choose peace over trauma. Like you actually realize you have this empowerment within you to choose. Okay. So it's about becoming embodied. And this is what the womb journey is. And there's two more. The other belief code that you are going to attune to in Reborn is that your womb is a channel of light, and your womb desires to birth light upon this earth. Again, your womb is a channel of light. It is designed to be a channel of light. And this is what Mother Mary did with her immaculate conception. And she was actually immaculately conceived as well through Anna, Mother Mary's mother. But there is a whole lineage of priestesses that understood this spiritual science of literally activating the light of the womb so that they could become impregnated with the light of God, to birth lineages of light on earth. So this practice that Mother Mary mastered and came onto this earth to master at such a young age, this had been practiced for many, many years, thousands of years. This is ancient wisdom of the potential of the womb. So our womb is literally this chalice of light. And the more that we activate and open the womb, the more that the divine can come into our body and we can birth this light upon earth. It's not always through actual birth, actual bringing babies into the earth. The womb is about your creative manifestation, for lack of a better term right now. I don't really like using that word too much, but it is bringing, because sometimes manifestation, we really get in the head about it, but true manifestation happens from an embodied state. Is that you are the exact energetic match for what you are desiring to bring through, and you become the field through which it can be made manifest, the field through which it can materialize upon earth. Okay, so this is what we're doing with the womb. You're going to anchor in the belief that you have a womb of light, and that infinite potential is like whatever you desire to create, there's infinite potential for you to do that. Okay. The last belief code that we're going to anchor in through Reborn is that you are made for your divine mission. You were made for this. You came here with a mission. You came here to bring love in some shape or form, but the root of it is love, is harmony, is peace. You came here to bring the divine qualities on earth. And we need a lot of that on earth right now. And that is only going to be happening through your own transformation. But I want you, through Reborn, to know that what you desire, what you care about, the visions you see. You care about it because they're meant for you, and you're meant to be the woman that brings it through. Like your division, that divine mission is made for you, and you're supported in it. Do not turn away from it. So Reborn's gonna be such a powerful mentorship, unlocking your womb, but really rebirthing you into the woman that can lead her mission on this earth. Okay. It's going to be a profound transformation. In 8 weeks, you'll have a complete identity shift into your highest potential for this life and your mission. All things are possible. Your womb is the blueprint for the source of all creation. From nothing, all is created. Be with the womb, trust, let go of control. You will awaken your magnetism and rise. So with this journey, we're going through these 8 grail gates, and these centers are similar to the chakras of the energy system. These 8 grail gates are specific energy points within the womb space. We're going to really go on this archetypal embodiment journey of these grail gate centers. Okay. And when you unlock that archetypal wisdom, your identity will shift into higher alignment with your potential, and you will embody this ancient wisdom for your true power. Okay. So you're going to rebirth yourself alongside the birth of your mission. So if you are feeling called to this journey, you are welcome. Even if it's, you've had many years of connecting into your womb and you feel like you want to reconnect, go deeper and expand, or if you've never connected to your womb, this is a journey for you. Any woman can step into this space, and you're going to take it to the next level or next multiple levels of your expansion and potential. So this begins on the spring equinox. Again, if you're interested, you can just put in the comments. I'll put the link, and just know I will be putting the link in very shortly within the comments of this video. But again, please feel free to reach out with any questions about this course. This mentorship, it's 2 months. It's an 8-week journey with 10 sessions. Okay, so the first week is 2 because we're doing an opening ceremony. And then our first grail gate, the last week is the last grail gate and the closing ceremony. And the way I do live mentorships, it's very beautifully immersive. We have the group of women, and so there's only 22 women that are going to be stepping into this space, capping it at that amount. And we meet live during the week, and then there's a whole online space that you have access to where you can go in, you can review the live session, but then there's embodiment practices for the week, and they're these very beautiful, specifically curated, guided spiritual journeys that are infused with holy fire, Reiki, healing energy, and these visualizations and guided activations to actually activate you. And the more you listen to them and attune to them, that's where you really unlock your belief codes and you attune to your highest potential. And there's also PDFs included as well. For some people who like to read and really connect into the PDFs, I'll have those as well included. It's a very beautifully immersive experience. So if you are interested, just let me know. I will get you the link. I'll also be putting that in the description of this video very shortly. You can also just go to divinemissionalchemy.com/reborn and you will see it. Thank you so much for spending this evening with me and being in this transmission and being together. This was so beautiful and sacred. I can't wait. I'm going to be doing another one, I think, next Tuesday. And that conversation I'm very excited for as well. All right. Mwah. I'm sending you all of my love, and we'll talk soon.